Akhenaten's Gates, Chapter 33. The day I dreaded most had finally arrived. Nothing could delay it any longer. Akhenaten and I were dressed in the most regal manner possible. I was adorned in a dazzling dress, dripping with jewels and trinkets, my crown proudly held high on my head. My husband was in his best kilt. On his head, he wore the frightening Beshank crown, representing Upper and Lower Egypt. He really wanted to make a statement. Boy, did he ever. This is, after all, how we would attend to the most important of foreign affairs. Egypt was the heart and soul of the world, holding the greatest empire on the planet. It was politically only fitting to always remind the lesser countries of their place. How horrible. Normally, such a notion would be just unbecoming in my eyes. But considering the circumstances of this matter, I certainly wanted to make that statement very clear. This was a part of the job we were never too fond of, but had handled as best as we could for years. But this matter was different. She was coming. The doors were opened to mark the arrival of the ambassador, his wife, and Kia. She was 12 years old, the same as Akhetaten. She certainly had a sort of regal air about her, certainly of noble blood, though not a princess. She had been primped and primed her whole life for this moment. She bowed with a deep and graceful curtsy. If she actually had more of a chest than an A-cup, I would almost think she was trying to tempt Akhenaten with the imaginary cleavage on her chest. She was certainly a very pretty girl. Even that I had to admit. She had a fair complexion on skin that was only a little darker than my own, perhaps hazelnut in color. She smelled of the finest perfumes. Her hair was thick and the color of chestnut. She had a slim and cute little figure. She even had a perfect little smile. A part of me hated her already. How dare she be pretty? She didn't seem to be the least bit nervous about her situation. She also didn't seem the least bit put off or ashamed of my presence. Bitch. But still, stay calm. Stay calm. I bid you welcome, Akhenaten greeted loudly. Sheesh. I would have guessed she would possibly be an airhead, but I don't think that meant she was deaf. I bid you welcome, Kia. I have been expecting you for a very long time. I have been awaiting this day forever, my pharaoh, she replied boldly in that cute voice. It was a voice that was sweet and well trained in grace. I have felt the flutters of anticipation this whole time. Now finally it has come to pass. I hope, no, I am sure I shall pleasure Pharaoh immensely and make a good wife. I had to grit my teeth and hold my tongue. She wasn't even acknowledging me. And above that, she didn't seem as much of an airhead as she looked. She was articulate. But perhaps some blame of her ignorance could be placed on Akhenaten for the absence of a proper introduction. He obviously also came to that realization. Oh, and you've yet to meet my lovely queen, Nefertiti, he said with a fluid motion. Her smile faltered, but she still showed a sense of respect. Greetings, lady, queen of the lord of the two lands. Greetings, Kia, I forced out. I am pleased that you arrived safely. Kia, I do hope that the two of you can become very good friends. It would please me immensely, Akhenaten stated, feeling a bit of the tension. Now we were already having a stare-off. Thicker tension now. This was a Jerry Springer moment just waiting to happen. Akhenaten stood suddenly, as if to command individual attention. Perhaps we should dine. After a long and tiresome journey, you must be famished. Agreed. And in procession, the court moved en masse. Akhenaten pulled me back gently as I passed him. Nefertiti! I didn't do anything, I insisted. Remain civil. Civil? I'm doing the best that I can. Consider me a wee bit bitter. A child has shown up and already trying to seduce you. That is one audacious virgin. I can read her thoughts. Do you know what they say, Akhenaten? Hi, I'm here to fornicate with your husband now. I'm not sure if you are aware, but most wives don't like that. I understand, he replied, but please. I'll try to be good, I promised. We held an exquisite banquet. Having had an abundance of pregnancies, food was a favorite thing of mine. We could afford the finest of foods, and I muchly enjoyed them. Oh, so delicious. But then something flew past my face. I gasped, nearly choking on my mouthful. I was able to tame it and get it down, washing it down and letting out a polite little cough, if a cough could ever be deemed polite. I glared in the direction from whence it came. Kia. I'm sorry, she said with a sweet and mocking tone. I'm afraid it just got away from me. Akhenaten gave a chuckle which brought a fire up my spine. He was amused with her. Accidents happened. He was amused. He was enjoying this jealousy. Two people were fighting for him in such a semi-discreet manner, and he was enjoying it. I am still pleased that you have accepted me, Kia stated. For years, I had been told that Pharaoh will love me like no other. A girl like me with a man as powerful as you. It is an overwhelming thing for a child to grow up with, and it brings my heart alight to think His Majesty would find pleasure in the company of a young lady as myself. I've therefore been in love with you my whole life. Oh, geez. She was laying it on very thick. It made me sick to listen to her witty charm. However, I could not make the definite notion that her words were bullshit. I just hated them anyway. I am the one who won his everlasting love, and I didn't have to do things like that to get it. I am pleased that you are pleased, Akhenaten said simply. I look forward to being deflowered by a god. Sons are quite prominent in our family. In fact, in my father's line, I'm the only daughter. I shall give you the crown prince that you seek. I am sure of it. That bitch was doing it on purpose, wasn't she? She knew that I had borne no sons and was bragging. But she was also counting her chickens before they hatched, so to speak. She was trying to impress Akhenaten and offend me in one fell swoop, or however the saying goes. What was worse, Akhenaten was either a great pretender or he truly was impressed. At this rate, he'd be sure to conveniently neglect to tell me the location of Kia's chambers. It would be hidden in a labyrinth of rooms provided for her and her personal entourage of handmaidens, for fear that I'd kill her while she slept. Once all had settled, things started to move in routine once more. Duties had to be done and carried out. At one particular moment, I was walking up the corridor, deep in some sort of thought or other. But whatever it was, Kia's voice had pulled me from it. Nefertiti! I turned back to see her waving her hands wildly. She ran up to me with such exuberance. I was wary, but also curiously intrigued. Maybe she was trying to make friends? What is it? I asked. What sort of name is Nefertiti, anyway? She asked in a snobbish manner. What sort of name is Kia? I retorted calmly. What do you want? Your crown. I am the rightful owner of it. I will be able to do for Pharaoh what you couldn't do. When I bear him a son, he will be the next king of Egypt, and you will be reduced to nothing more than a worthless harem wife. You'll be history. My face remained deadpan the whole while she was talking. Rather than lash out, as I wished to, I remained calm and almost unresponsive to listen to her nonsense. When she fell silent, I shoved her off as an insignificant fly. I'm sorry. We do not allow dogs inside the palace. So, go outside and pee on a bush or something. Say what you will, she spat. It will come back to bite you. Live in your denial, but you cannot live like that forever. Your days are numbered. I turned up my nose and continued on my way until I gracefully entered the royal garden. I picked up a stick and began to swing frantically at a bush with a shriek. Fortunately for the poor bush, I kept missing in my rage. "Mom!" I heard Meridaten gasp. I hadn't even realized she was there. "What's wrong?" "Nothing! Don't beat around the bush. Tell me what has got you upset." "Her!" "Still not getting along?" "She's got guts," I hissed. "She spouts off so. It's vulgar and unbecoming. I hate her. I hate the idea that Akhetaten has to get her pregnant." "Has he slept with her yet?" I sighed. "No. He's been so busy lately that he doesn't even have the time or the energy to sleep with me. I can't imagine his penis being in that tramp." I paused and glanced at her. "Why are you here? You have your own palace." "I was wandering," Meridaten shrugged. "At night, it's easier to just walk. The stars are pretty out here." I peered up. "Yeah, I guess so." Meridaten crossed her legs and thought for a few minutes. "Is there a time frame?" "Huh?" "For father to get Kia pregnant." Come to think of it, he never said anything about a time frame. I suddenly grew angry and hit the bush with the stick. But what does it matter now? I cannot give my husband any more children. There is no holy triad prince. A prince born to the royal family outranks a secondary wife's son, am I right? Yes, but like I said, if Kia is an adult, then so am I, she declared. If she is an intimate gift, then so I may be. Fret not, my darling mother. What are you on about? What are you suggesting? I asked in utter confusion. If it pleases Aten, then let me be father's new bride. What? Let me bear a son to my father and put Kia out of her place. I frowned. Meridaten, no. It's just not. It is our only chance if we want to save father from Kia. I can be political too. I offer myself as a tribute bride to my father. If he is the divine body made by Aten, then consider me then sacrificing my virginity and giving my body in a symbolic and intimate worship to Aten, who rules above, by going, as all do, through the mediator. I shall couple with the voice that speaks to the people in Aten's benefit. I shall give myself to Akhetaten to bear him a son blessed by Aten. You know that the final decision is not mine, I said. It is your father's body that would be shared with yours, not mine. Give me your blessing, Meridaten pleaded. Then I will convince him. I can be creative and coy. I shall summon him to my palace. There. Just trust me. I know you are that desperate. A prince by me can save your place. I fell silent then. I threw the stick. Keep that bitch away from my husband, I hissed. Will do, mother, she replied. Will do. The following morning, I peered out the window of the king's chamber to see the people outside beginning their day. I had spent the night alone there. It was rather late in the morning. My husband had been summoned to the North Palace the previous night and had never returned. The morning, even now, was beautiful. It was warm rather than hot. The sky was clear and it smelled rather semi-sweet. Once the doors made their sound, I turned to see Akhetaten nearly flop in and shut the door behind him. It was obvious that he had not been awake very long. Long night? I can honestly say that I have not had a night like that in a long time. I suppose Meridaten's little plan worked then. He sighed. You two are so cruel to me. It took a lot of willpower and sense to resist her, only to find her determination was much stronger. And I broke beneath it, giving in to her demands. I feel a little dirty. And I understand. She's got quite the political tongue. I shall leave the statement there to prevent laying perversion upon it. You know, though, I've never had a woman take advantage of me before. What a helpless position. It was almost exciting. I should be disgusted hearing that my husband had deflowered his own daughter, I stated. I don't think I did much of anything, he muttered. She's a horrible control freak and frightening. There was no getting out of it. If I had tried to escape, I almost fear she would have tied me up. Don't go into details, Akhetaten, I scolded. Anyway, this means war. I hate that bitch Kia. She's stuck up and pompous, a real brat. Has she done something? He asked. How could he be so calm? Had Meridaten worn him out that much? She's heartless. She's certainly not as innocent as she lets on. She doesn't deserve you. She deserves to be tied to a tree and shot. I'd like to see her do that seductive strut with an arrow up her tight, perfect little ass. You're getting silly, Nefertiti. I'll talk to her. I don't want any conflict. It's already complicated, and more so now with Meridaten as a bride queen. Talk? I accused. Is that all you will do? If Meridaten is that clever, then what of Kia? Don't be silly. I'm not really all too interested in Kia. She's far too full of herself. She acts as though she has many years behind her. Oh, don't give me that, I teased. A naive virgin child set before you at your mercy? To obey all of your sexual desires? And that doesn't appeal to you at all? If I were a man, it would certainly give me one heck of a hard-on. Well, he gulped nervously. A little. I am a man, after all. But I've prided myself on my self-control. Until last night. You two are plotting and viciously. Why desire Kia when my two homegrown queens can entertain me? That helps, but it doesn't change the matter. She's going to want you, Akhetaten. That is her whole purpose. She's a tramp and a homewrecker. Will Meridaten and I be enough? For now, this new arrangement is exciting and pleasing, and Meridaten has a very valid point. Kia does not have to have me for years. Meridaten may very well give me a son. Then we can put all of this behind us, and Kia can be sent to Luxor or Memphis with the others. She will do her best to seduce you, I insisted. Perhaps, he replied casually, but I cannot give her anything if I am seduced out. I beg your pardon. He gave me a playful wink and sat on the edge of the bed, patting a place beside him to beckon me join him. To avoid lusting after Kia, I can expend my sexual energy between my beloved Nefertiti and my beloved Meridaten. You then have far more stamina than I have ever given you credit for, I chuckled. To be able to satisfy us both like that, Akhetaten, I feel a little ashamed. Even I am growing old, but I stay fit with good and frequent exercise. I shall maintain muscle, stamina, and vigor, not to mention my virility. I suddenly burst out into wild laughter. Of all the silly things for him to say, it had to be something like that. It brought a bright smile to his face and hysterical tears in my eyes. It felt nice. I couldn't even remember the last time I had laughed so free and carelessly like this. I felt a small sense of relief as I came to him, my beloved husband.